Post-match chat is live. What a game we saw today. The third IT20 between Pakistan and South Africa. And Pakistan have won by 9 wickets. They had 12 balls remaining. It doesn't tell the whole story. They were chasing 203. They did it with 2 overs to spare off the back of a phenomenal innings. One of the best T20 innings I've ever seen. And I've seen a lot of T20 cricket by Babar. One of the most stunning knocks. I'm sure we're going to wax lyrical about that today. By we, I mean me, Aatif Nawaz, your host, and my guests, always, of course, ever present with us here, is Anam Nadeem Aruff Asif, and our very special guest today, comedian and author. He wrote the book, The Secret Diary of a British Muslim, aged 13 and 3/4. It's a really funny read, really, actually quite emotional read at times. I highly recommend it. It's brilliant. We'll put a link to it in the bio of this. But it is one of my best friends as well, Mr. Tez Ilyaz, big cricket fan. Great to have Tez on the show. And what a day to get you, Tez. Walaikum assalam. What a day to get you off the back of a huge Pakistan win. I'm getting straight into it, bro. What was your favorite performance of the match today?
Well, thank you for having me. Good evening, listeners, or good morning if you're watching it later, or good afternoon. My favorite performance, I think, is the most obvious choice, is Fakhar Zaman, purely based on trajectory of where his innings was headed. We know Pakistan, they're prone to a collapse. So when we lost Babar Azam's wicket, when he needlessly threw away his wicket, putting the whole scorecard and the entire match in jeopardy for Pakistan, it was Super Fakhar who rescued the match for Pakistan, and he just made sure that we crossed the line without any embarrassments whatsoever. And I was doing some calculations. If you know, as Asians, we do love mathematics, and based on his trajectory, 23 balls later, he would have reached a century. So it's a shame we never got to see him carry his innings on. So for me, Fakhar Zaman for stabilising an innings when our captain needlessly threw his wicket away. Fakhar Zaman was my man of the match.
It's very hard to disagree with you because the strike rates were this big theme, right? In the post-mortem of the previous match, people are talking about poor strike rates. Fakhar Zaman going at 400 strike rate, mate. So you're making a very good case. I told you he was funny. Listen, that's a great shout, actually. He came in, he hit 2 boundaries, finished the game. It's not implausible to think some Pakistanis' hearts were in their mouths when Babar got out because, we've seen weird things happen in Pakistani cricket historically. But yeah, that's a great shout. Anam Nadeem, I think you're gonna get away with having the most obvious one today. Tell me, what was your favorite performance of the match today?
Do I even have to say it out loud? मतलब Babar Azam without any shadow of a doubt. पिछले मैच में 50 बॉलों पे 50 100 का स्ट्राइक रेट. आज उसने कहा कि ऐसी की तैसी तुम सबकी कौन स्ट्राइक रेट पे मेरे क्वेश्चन मार्क्स उठा रहा है. आई कैन बैट एंड आई विल शो यू गाइस हाउ आई कैन बैट. और मजे की बात यही, जब चेस शुरू हुई थी तो आधे से ज्यादा लोग इस चीज पे परेशान थे कि बाबर और रिजवान क्यों इकट्ठे बैटिंग करने आ गए, फखर को ओपन क्यों नहीं करवाया. दिस इज अ स्टेटमेंट. मतलब ये स्टेटमेंट भी किस किस्म की है मुझे वर्ड्स नहीं सही तरह पता कि थोड़े बहुत गाली वाली स्वेयर करने के बगैर कैसे बताया जाए कि किस किस्म की स्टेटमेंट है ये जो बाबर ने आज दी है. एंड इट वाज जस्ट फिनोमिनल टू वॉच. 122 ऐसे, इट वाज अ मास्टर क्लास विदाउट उसने कोई रिस्क नहीं लिए. ऐसी शॉटें मार रहे हैं जैसे बस ठीक है यार, प्लेग्राउंड में आए हुए हैं, बच्चों को खेल रहे हैं. एक्चुअली बात फिर खत्म होती है कि ये जो टीम, जब से वो आईपीएल वाले चले गए हैं, टीम तो फिर बच्चों वाली थोड़ी बहुत थी ना. और हम लोगों की परेशानी ये थी कि यार बच्चों वाली टीम को बच्चों की तरह मार क्यों नहीं रहे हैं, हम लोग क्यों आखिरी गेंदों पे मैचेस जा रहे हैं. आज जो अथॉरिटी हमने स्टैम्प किया, दिस इज द अथॉरिटी वी नीड एंड दिस इज द अथॉरिटी वी नीड टू सी.
बिल्कुल Anam, listen, you said it beautifully, but I will disagree with you that it's a बच्चों वाली टीम. बच्चों वाली टीम ने 203 रन तो किए हैं. They got those runs. It was a good total. I know it's a great pitch and everything, and Pakistan's bowling was below par. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but it was, as I say, Babar Azam, you said it beautifully. 122 from 59 balls, strike rate of 206, 15 fours, 4 sixes. One of the most amazing innings I've seen on the same day that he was crowned the world #1 as well. So in one-day international cricket. For me, he's the best all-format batsman in the world right now. I think it's very hard to deny that. I think it's fair for us to, I've been on the Kohli team for a very long time, but watching this Babar, the consistency, it's very hard to argue. Arif, come on, bro, hit me. What was your favorite performance of today's match?
I think for me, I'm going to agree with Anam. Babar's performance stands out by far. But I think Rizwan's performance wasn't too far behind him. He started off the quicker batsman. Babar took a while to get going, even though he hit 120 or 50 balls. He was slower than Rizwan was at the start of the innings. So I think, yeah, between both of them, it's a hard pick. But yeah, I'll probably tip Babar on sort of player of the match for me.
Yeah, I think it's it's fair. It's one of those things you're going to have a lot of people agreeing on, and I would agree with both of you. I would like to give some love just because you all picked Babar, and obviously Tez picked Fakhar Zaman, which is a great pick. But I'm going to go with Rizwan as well because that role was very crucial. Like we saw in the previous match, a lot of people said, "Why doesn't Babar play like this in every game? Why isn't he always hitting at a 200 strike rate?" It's hard to play at 200 strike rate when the team around you is crumbling. And had Rizwan not hung in there beside him, he possibly couldn't have played with the same kind of freedom that he did today. That's what I would say. So I would definitely, just to change things up, I'll back Mohammad Rizwan for my performance of the match, 73 from 47. Just a little honourable mention as well for Aidan Markram, who played a great knock. I thought 63 of 31 deliveries and third consecutive 50. Like he was superb for me.
Did that
Tez
actually happen
Ilyaz,
today, Atif?
yes, I know it
Oh,
feels
right.
like a million
Yeah,
years ago.
yeah.
It feels like a long time ago.
It feels
But
like it was just Babar playing today.
it does feel like it was just Babar playing today. If you listen to the commentary, and I have to say, generally speaking, some of the commentary in South Africa has been a little bit biased, if I'm being overly critical towards the South Africans. But today, like, it was just a consensus that what we're watching is an artist at work with Babar, Anyway, Tez Ilyaz,
Yes.
special guest today. I'm looking forward to this, right? Because some people get squeamish, but I know the one thing you are not is squeamish. Having seen you on stage, you go in, bro. So who was your least favorite? What was your least favorite performance of today's match?
Listen, yeah, this is a butcher-only team, as someone said, not my words, the words of Anam, right? This is a South Africa B team. Why are we conceding 200 runs? I'm really worried about our bowling performance. Bowling was never something that we had to concern ourselves with too much in T20. Apparently, it's the first time since 2013 that we've conceded 200 runs in a T20 international. Now, possibly that could be because we're a bit complacent because this is a South African B team and maybe the bowlers aren't going hell for leather. Maybe they're protecting themselves for later in the year because it's going to be quite a busy second half of the year. But I'm a bit concerned about that. We don't seem to have that bowler that can just tear through the lineup. Although I'm still happy that we're more disciplined towards the end of the innings, as that has been our trademark in T20 internationals. But yeah, that is a concern of mine. I don't want to pinpoint any bowler, Haris Rauf, but all bowlers I think could there's definitely room for improvement for all of them.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that at all. Like, you're bang on, Tez. It is absolutely right. 7 years since they last conceded 200 plus. They had to break their own record that they set earlier in this series for highest run chase to chase it down. Anam, shine a little bit of light on that for us as well. Like, what went wrong with the bowling, and also tell me your least favorite performance, because I feel like they're going to overlap.
यार least favorite performance, I think आज हमारा जो फेवरेट रहा है डिस्कशन में भी बाल कटवा के उसके बाद उस्मान कादिर जो है पहले मैच में उसने नहीं अच्छा किया, दूसरे मैच में ही वाज रियली गुड. आई डिडंट अंडरस्टैंड कि उसको आज ड्रॉप क्यों किया, बिकॉज वो हमारा विकेट टेकिंग ऑप्शन है, एक अकलौता जो मिडिल ओवर्स में हमें चाहिए होती है, विकेट चाहिए होती है. तो मुझे समझ नहीं आई कि उस्मान कादिर को आपने किसके एक्सपेंस पे बाहर बैठा दिया है. I know they wanted to strengthen their batting lineup, आसिफ अली को डाल के, but I still feel कि उस्मान कादिर की जगह बनती थी आज टीम में, और हमने वो देख लिया कि जिस तरह से बाकी बॉलर्स को आज फेंटी पड़ी है. कंसर्निंग है बिल्कुल. और मेरा लीस्ट फेवरेट परफॉर्मेंस साउथ अफ्रीका का वो मिडिल ऑर्डर की परफॉर्मेंस है, जो आखिरी 7 ओवरों में उन्होंने सिर्फ 63 रन बनाए हैं, जबकि दे वर बैटिंग सो वेल. ओपनर्स ने एक अच्छा प्लेटफॉर्म दे दिया. यानिमन मलान, आई डोंट नो, आई थिंक उसने कहीं ना कहीं उसको थोड़ा और तेज खेलने की जरूरत थी. आज फिर वही वाली बात है, हमें ये बात करनी है कि उन्होंने तेज क्यों नहीं खेला. तो यानिमन and even Klaassen at the post match ceremony mentioned कि openers जो है वो starts दे रहे हैं, 50 कर रहे हैं, लेकिन वो 80 नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, probably वो 100 नहीं कर पा रहे हैं. तो वो openers set होके उनको वो platform जो मिला है उसको utilize नहीं कर पा रहे हैं. तो फिर वही बात है, छोटी छोटी चीजों की बात है. पाकिस्तान की बॉलिंग तो एक मसला था ही, साउथ अफ्रीका ने भी कैपिटलाइज नहीं किया, जबकि एक बहुत आसान मौका था उनके लिए 220 शायद करने का या 230 करने का, वो उन्होंने वो भी मिस आउट किया आज.
I'm completely agreeing with you again. I think they've got that wrong. It's a very bizarre selection that they've done with a lot of these players, the ins and outs. Like, even though they brought Sharjeel in for the last game, and I know he didn't score a lot of runs, he scored 8 runs, and I know people have moral issues with Sharjeel, vagara. But if you've brought him, you play him, right? Like, okay, he wouldn't have done anything in this match anyway because of the way it turned out. But like, surely there should be a bit more consistency in the selection. This one game in, one game out. Ye kya hai, right? I know it's not my turn, but I'll tell you, my least favorite performance is the performance of the Pakistani selectors. Like, what are they doing? Where's the consistency? We can't let a phenomenal performance by two of our batsmen, sorry, Tez, fucker as well, three of our batsmen, right? Mask the fact that they've been really poor with their selection and really inconsistent with the way they've picked their team. It's not been a great show. But anyway, I don't want to dwell on that too much. Arif, tell me, bro, what was your least favorite performance of today's match?
I think my least favorite performance was Asif Ali. What's he done? What's he done for the last few years? Like, I know he didn't get to hold the bat, but it comes back to that same debate. Like, can a middle order batsman just be in there just to bat in 2020s? Do they have to turn their arm over? Because if the top batsmen click, the game's finished by number 4. So similar situation today. Do we need number 5s and 6s and 7s to turn their arms over and be useful? Because Asif Ali's not done anything. And I know this would have been great for him to get opportunity for him to kind of sort of cement his place. But I think it's time up. I don't think he's going to get another chance, and it's just a shame, really. But yeah, I was a little disappointed he didn't get a run out.
Wow.
So really, that's Babar's fault, isn't it?
Again, I think it's Fakhr's fault.
Another reason to speak badly of Babar, just not giving these people a run out.
But you do get what I'm trying to say. It's that number 5, 6, and 7. They've got to be able to turn their arm. Otherwise, it's hard to it's hard to score every game if you're a batsman in that position, and it's hard to then justify your place in the team if you can't turn your arm.
I don't know. I mean, I think one of Pakistan's problem is picking too many bits and pieces cricketers, because you have to be able to bat big in T20s, because there will come a time, the quarterfinals, semi-finals of the T20s, when Rizwan or Babar or Fakhr or whoever is in those 3-4 top places are going to fail. And then you're going to need your number 5 and 6 batsmen who are going to come in at 80 for 4 after 10 overs. And we need them to hit 120 runs in those last 10 overs. And you need the specialist batsmen in there. Those bits and pieces cricketers aren't going to cut it in those crunch situations, for me.
Yeah, that's a good point. You want to come back on that, Arif?
I think there is a point, but the game's just too short. The game's just too short. And when you've got players like Rizwan and Babar who are proper batsmen, they're not sloggers. They aren't playing rash shots every third ball like Afridi used to. So there's more chance of them sticking in and playing 10, 11 overs.
Hey, no disrespect. He's not on this show. We love Lala. Okay.
Who are our sloggers in the wider squad? Who are our big sloggers?
Well, it's a really good question that you asked, Tez, because the middle order is the real problem for Pakistan right now. I don't think anybody really. I know a lot of people were raising an issue about Babar's strike rate and everything. I just don't think that's credible considering his career, right? And his skill. I think, again, Rizwan has had a stunning year already. Just a couple of blips don't all of a sudden make him a bad player. So the top order is fine. Obviously, Fakhr is in top form. Top order is fine. It's that middle order. You worry about Hafiz. You worry about Asif Ali, Haider Ali, these guys in the middle order, like, they still haven't grabbed that brass ring like the Indians have. Surya Kumar Yadav came in, immediately runs. Ishan Kishan came in, immediately runs. Natarajan comes in, immediately wickets. Like, they're immediately making an impact, whereas our boys, are not doing the same thing. Even Danish, we saw in the ODI series, kind of struggling. That middle order, Anam, untested today, but still a worry.
बिल्कुल है, परेशानी की बात है। और आज एक अच्छी बात ये हुई है कि पिछले मैच में टॉस जीत के पहले बैटिंग की थी, आज टॉस जीत के हम लोगों ने चेज किया। तो एक ऑल ऑफ अ सडन चेज करना हमारी स्पेशलिटी बन गई है। हमें चेज करना आसान लग रहा है, पहले बैटिंग करना मुश्किल लग रहा है, जो कि एक पाकिस्तानी फैन के लिए अब्सॉर्ब करना बहुत मुश्किल है। मतलब चेज वाज नेवर आवर लाइक स्ट्रॉन्गेस्ट सूट, लाइक एवर। चेज हैज ऑलवेज बीन कि ओ शिट, चेज करना पड़ रहा है, ओ अब क्या होएगा, पता नहीं क्या होएगा।
I remember in the 90s the opposition could make 210 and I'm still worried. in an ODI, the opposition could make 210, and I'm still worried that we won't chase it because we were so bad at chasing.
But it's
तो
flipped.
उसको हाँ वो फ्लिप
It's
कैसे हुआ मुझे
completely
नहीं पता
right.
कैसे हो गया है। और एकदम से जो है बॉलर्स को फैटी पड़ी है, बैट्समैन के लिए आसान हो गया है कि वो जो है चेज करने में उनके लिए बहुत आसान है। बट कमिंग बैक टू द पॉइंट कि मिडिल ऑर्डर ये मसला है, और T20 वर्ल्ड कप आने से पहले बहुत जरूरी है हमारे लिए कि हमारी वो पोजीशंस जो है सॉलिडिफाई हो जाए। हमें पता है कि हम अगर हफीज आ रहा है तो हम रिलाय, ठीक है हफीज अभी उस तरह से क्लिक नहीं किया, 2 T20 आज उसको मौका नहीं मिला, पहले वाले में पहले 2 वालों में ही वाज ओके इश। तो बट वी नो हफीज इज आवर ट्रम्प कार्ड। उसके नीचे जो प्लेयर्स हैं, हैदर के साथ मसले हैं, ही इज यंग वी नो दैट, बट देन वी नीड समबडी हु कैन क्लिक। वी डोंट हैव दैट टाइम कि हम कहें कि यार अच्छा अभी 10-15 तुम T20s खेलो, कोई चक्कर नहीं है, आराम से अपनी जगह सीमेंट करो। वी नीड समवन जो इंस्टेंटली आके परफॉर्म करे, और अनफॉर्चुनेटली अभी ऐसा कोई प्लेयर नीचे नजर नहीं आ रहा जो फौरन आएगा और हम लोगों को हम कहेंगे कि हाँ यार अब कोई टेंशन वाली बात नहीं है, हमारे पास ये फलाना फलाना प्लेयर है, वो हमारे लिए नीचे से स्कोर करेगा।
Sorry, go on. I was going to say a good Imran Nazir is what we need.
Imran Nazir. क्या player याद किया
What
यार,
about a
Imran
good?
Nazir
What about a
was
good
the guy.
Shahid Afridi?
Yeah, or
Was
a good
good.
Shahid Afridi would be good as well.
Oh mate, what a shout! Listen, back on the game then. Moment of the match. There were a ton of moments. So my only rule for this is you can't claim an entire innings as a moment, right? As Arman would say, he's not here today, so I'm going to rep that voice. So let's start with you, Tez, special guest. Tez, tell me what was your favorite moment of the match?
My favorite moment of the match was Fakhr Zaman's. No, I'm joking. My favorite moment of the match. My favorite moment of the match was Babar's first 6, because that really set the tone for his innings. I know he had a bit of a slow start, but once he got going, once he got that 6 under his belt, he just absolutely motored, and I think that just settled him down. And he 84 of his runs came in boundaries. Like, so good, such a good performance. I say that in case anyone didn't sense the sarcasm from earlier. Obviously, I'm super chuffed with Babar Azam. Yeah, so I think his first 6, I think, was my favorite moment of the match, because he's not like I said, he's a very controlled batsman, and I think the strike rate thing is a misnomer. I agree, but he's also not a big hitting batsman. He's not a Glenn Maxwell, for example. So for me, that was great for him. To see him hit 4 6s in one innings is great.
It really was. I can't agree with you more, man. Like, he played proper cricket. There were very few agricultural shots in that innings. It all was quite contained. He didn't look rushed. He looked like he was just playing every ball on merit. And okay, I acknowledge that some of the bowling at him wasn't the best, but you can only put away what's in front of you, and he did so beautifully with so much grace and class. You said it beautifully, man. Great moment to pick out the first 6. Anam, Nadeem, what was your favorite moment of the match?
The running between the wickets, बाबर और जिस तरह रिजवान ने आज सिंगल्स को डबल्स में कन्वर्ट किया है, और जिस तरह से एक अर्जेंसी थी कि यार भागना है और करना है, दैट वाज सो गुड टू सी। वो अक्सर हमें मिसिंग ये फैक्टर लगता है, और मेरे लिए आज बहुत हार्टनिंग था कि जिस तरह से रनिंग बिटवीन द विकेट्स इन दोनों ने किया, एंड द वे both of them were backing each other as well. अगर रिजवान कोई शॉट लगा रहा था तो बाबर फुल ही वाज लाइक पंपिंग के बैट पे मार रहा है अपना, और उसके अंगूठे में भी कुछ मसला था, still he was like punching his bat when Rizwan was hitting those boundaries. So it was so heartening to see. और एक वो element आ जाता है कि यार अगर ये लोग ऐसे खेल सकते हैं तो आप बस वही वाला होता है कि क्या ये मेरा पाकिस्तान है, मतलब वक्त बदल गए, जज्बात, वो सारी चीजें जो है ना वो आप मैच देखते हुए वो आ जाती हैं जहन में.
Very good. I love it. It was great running between the wickets performance. Nice partnership. They're creating this. A lot of people were kind of like, fucker, why isn't he batting up? Or when Sharjeel came in the side, we need him to open. But the rhythm that openers establish is worth a lot. So I think that's a great moment. Arif, moment of the match. What's left?
Yeah, I was just going to say, you've not left me much, have you? And to be honest, I don't think I was watching any of the South African players, so I can't even pick anything from them. But I think if I was to choose, there was a shot that Rizwan played halfway through the innings, where he kind of took a few steps forward, and he just angled his bat, and it looked like an edge, but he'd actually placed it. I think it was deep extra cover in the gap there, and to me, it sort of summed up the whole of Pakistan's innings. If you were watching that with the shots they were playing, you couldn't really, if you didn't know it was a T20 game, you'd think it was a one day because they were not slogging. They were playing proper cricket shots. They were picking the gaps, like Anam said, they were running well. They were encouraging each other. But I think the other moment for me is Babar's century, his celebration. If you look at that celebration, you kind of understand how much this means to him. There's been a lot of critics, one of them on our own show, who's not here today, about Arman.
Who's that?
Arman. You need to meet. You need to meet him. He's a great guy.
Boo.
And,
Boo, Arman.
but anyways, Babar's strike rate has come into under the spotlight a lot, and he was scoring over 200 strike rate today. So nobody could say that his strike rate is ever an issue. This guy can score. Yes, they were chasing a total which was really high. So yes, they had to push on from ball one, hence why the strike rate had to be high. But I don't think it's the players players' mentality that, or the players' way of playing that's slowing their strike rates down. I just think, coming back to Aatif's point earlier on in the show, I think this is a lot down to the management. The management don't have a plan when we're batting first. So the players don't know how to pace their innings. Someone like Babar, if he's scoring 50 out of 50, maybe the management has told him, let the other guys have a crack, you keep your wicket for later on. You just don't know what's happening. Obviously, this guy can hit out, right? And he hits out without slogging. I think there's a big management problem with the current Pakistani setup, and something that the PCB need to look at, because we are going to waste a generation of real good talent. We were hyped up about the late 90s talent or the mid 90s talent, but the way these guys are going slowly under the radar, these lot are setting a good sort of giving them showing the world that, you know what, they're not far behind. People like Babar Azam, Rizwan, Shaheen. We've got three of them probably fit into any world team at the moment. So yeah, we're looking at some good times. I just think the management need to be a bit more confident, and they need to know, they need to have a plan. It can't be ad hoc as it is. Oh, let's play Asif Ali today. Oh, let's take Usman Qadir out. No reason at all. So yeah, for me, moment of the match has to be Rizwan's shot. And yeah, there's a few complaints, but we'll leave that to another show.
Yeah, I've got to represent Arman's perspective on this, right? Clearer, because it's not that he's not a fan of Babar. He loves Babar. He just felt that he needed to play more aggressively in the previous game. And to be fair, that's a perspective shared by many people. He said, he was really impressed with the way he played today. He said he was kind of forced into playing it on our WhatsApp group. He said he was forced into playing that way today by the scenario, and he should play like that all the time. And I would counter that and saying that you just can't. You have to play situation to situation. And based on what you said, Arif, about teams having a little identity crisis batting first, it's not specific to Pakistan. This is happening around the world. Teams win the toss, they almost always field because they want the other team to set the tone of what's good on this pitch or what's a good score, or so it's a difficult one to weigh up. It's before anybody starts sending hate mail to Arman, he didn't say he doesn't like Babar. He's a huge Babar fan. I'm sure he's celebrating harder than anybody else, right? So with that being said, one more game to come in this series. Pakistan have taken a 2-1 lead. We expected them to be winning the series. Arman predicted a 4-0 at the top of the series. So did you, Anam. You said 4-0 now.
I said I'll go game by game, but deep down मुझे था कि 4-0 से जीतना चाहिए.
चलो, मैंने 3-1 कहा था, मेरा भी कायम है. It could be 2-all. Tez, what do you expect to happen in the last match? And B, what would you like to see differently in the team? Is there something you'd like to change up, something you'd like to experiment with?
I would like us to bat first. Well, obviously that's not all necessarily the case, but I would like us to be more aggressive in the field and just limit South Africa to a target that a team that is virtually fielding a B team should be limited to. Like, it was great practice today. Them getting 200 was great today because it let our batsmen show how talented they are, and that was great. But if we're letting this South African team hit 200, what are we going to do against an informed Indian team when Rishabh Pant comes in on number 6? Do you know what I mean? So it'd be nice if the bowlers did their job to make it, because the batsmen are not going to click every single game. So that's not going to happen, because with Pakistanis we don't do that.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Anybody you'd like to see more of? Anybody you'd give a break? Some people made the case for Shaheen needing a rest. I think Anam brought that up as well in the previous episode that Shaheen, he's been going full pelt all year, but then he's going to be playing in the 100 in England. He's going to be playing in the Blast in England. He's going to be playing in the PSL, for Lahore. Like, it's not really going to slow down for him, whether they take him to Zimbabwe
When's the World Cup?
or the World Cup.
October,
T20s
November.
this year in November. Yeah.
Okay, so this time.
There's time to him
Have a bit of a rest. Have a bit of
yeah.
Yeah.
So Arman again made this point yesterday. He's like, if he gets injured, whose head can I call for? Like, if they play him non-stop between whose head should roll? Because he's it's a fair criticism. Arif, who's winning the next game? Any changes you'd like to see?
So yeah, I initially sort of predicted a 4-0 to Pakistan because I'm a Pakistani fan, so everybody can understand that. But I think with the sort of joy that Pakistan gave us today, they will give us much sorrow in the next game. There is no way. There is no way. I've been a Pakistani fan since 1993, 94, right? As soon as I can hold a cricket bat, there is no way Pakistan is going to finish this off. They're going to let them play, and it's going to be 2-2.
Wow, the Dukhi spirit of old school Pakistan fans. I love it. I'm going to disagree with you. I don't think that's what's going to happen. I think Pakistan will close it out.
I will go even further and say
Oh.
they will bat first, right? And they'll be out under 100.
Wow.
Whoa.
Wow.
Pakistan.
Yeah, and South African bowlers George Linde would be taking a lot of wickets.
He'll take wickets and probably hit the winning runs with
Probably,
the way you're saying.
Yeah,
He looked
probably.
good today, by
He
the way.
looked
George
good,
Linde was very good until he got out, obviously, but he was looking good for a while. Anam, kya ho raha hai last match mein? Kaun jeet raha hai? What do you want to change? And I know you want Usman Qadir back, but apart from that.
पाकिस्तान जीत रहा है, कोई चक्कर नहीं है. आज जिस तरह से खेले हैं, अब अगर अगले मैच में अगर जिस तरह आरिफ बोल रहे हैं हारेंगे तो यार फिर बैक टू स्क्वायर वन वाला सीन है. अब यहाँ से ऊपर जाना है, नीचे तो नहीं आना, पीछे नहीं जाना. So I really do hope that we win the last match as well. उस्मान कादर वापस आए. शाहीन यार, I really want him, इसलिए नहीं कि बर्न आउट है या क्या है. I really feel उससे वो वाइब्स आ रही है कि यार उसको 1-2 मैच बाहर बिठाओ, उसको थोड़ा सा रेस्ट कराओ. Let him reflect on what he's doing wrong या क्या उसके साथ हो रहा है. शाहीन को जिस तरह से यानिमन मिलान और मार्करम शुरू में छक्के मार रहे हैं हर मैच में, अभी तक तीनों T20s में हमने देखा है, वो थोड़ा सा दिल को जरा लगता है कि यार शाहीन को इतने आराम से छक्के क्यों मार रहे हो, क्या सीन है. So I really want Shaheen to rest on जिस सिर्फ इस बात पे कि उसको अपनी गेम पे थोड़ा सा रिफ्लेक्ट करने की जरूरत है कि क्या गलत हो रहा है, क्या सही हो रहा है. इसके अलावा अब चेंज करने का कुछ बनता नहीं है. अब जो आज खिला लिए टीम उसमें बस हाँ उस्मान कादर एंड शाहीन नीड टू सेट आउट. Sorry, Usman needs to come back and Shaheen needs to sit out.
Yeah. And that would actually get the balance right as well for the team in terms of spinners. I'm with you. I don't see it happening. I'm pretty sure Shaheen will play, but I'm with you. I don't like it when your furious, aggressive fast bowler gets hit for 6. And on the subject of that, by the way, I didn't give my moment of the match. And that was Hassan Ali when he was bowling. Bowled a beautiful, in the midst of being smashed to all parts, bowled a gorgeous dipping in-swinging Yorker to take a wicket. And I'm a fast bowling fan, right? So I love it when those stumps go flying. And he made the stumps fly. It was a gorgeous delivery. You watch the swing in the air. It's like a bumblebee, the way it moves. Whoosh, beautiful. So that was my moment. And I'm in agreement. I think Pakistan will win. I really hope Arif's Batman nightmare scenario, Justice League nightmare scenario doesn't come to fruition.
Can I guys, can I add that yes, Pakistan didn't have a good day with the ball, but I think it's not a good wicket to judge them on. Everybody would have got tonked on this wicket, and South Africa as a country to tour isn't the best of countries to judge your bowlers on either. I think we will be fine. Yes, I agree they need some rest, but I think overall we'll be fine. Coming towards the World Cup, I don't have many concerns over the bowling.
All right, that's good to know.
Fantastic. That's good. That's a really good piece of input as well. Finally, just before we finish everything off, Tez, special guest today. Thanks for making the time, bro. Tell me, where do you rank that Babar innings? Because it was something special. Where do you rank it in the all-time? Like you watch cricket, like I stuff like from childhood, right? Amongst the all-time innings that you've seen, I'm sure you've seen some great ones along the way, like all of us. Where does that rank? Because for me, it's in the top 10.
Only counting Pakistani innings, right?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely up there. I mean, it was great. It's not as good as Misbah's century in his 50 ball century in was it against Australia
Test match.
in the desert? It wasn't as good as that. It wasn't as good as the time we chased 300 in Sri Lanka in half an afternoon. I mean, that was something else. To me, it falls just under Inzamam's brave but failed attempt at chasing 343 in 2005. I want to say there was a one-day international when India first toured Pakistan again, and they
Karachi
smacked.
होगा.
Yeah, they smacked it around. They made 340, which back then was like 400 and something. You know, back then, like 340 was something. And Pakistan, for the first time, I remember in modern day, we chased really, really well. And Inzamam played a blinder, and I think we fell about 5 runs short in the end. I think it was like we did six to tie, I think. And whoever our wicket keeper was at the time, which might have been
Kamran Akmal at the time, surely.
it might have been Kamran, it might have been Rashid Latif as well. I can't remember. It might have been whoever it was at the time, just didn't quite hit the 6 at the end to tie the game. But that was one of my favorite innings. So it's just below that for me.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good stuff. Anam, I got to ask you as well. Like, where does that innings rank in the pantheon of great Pakistani innings?
मैं सारी इनिंग्स को तो नहीं देखूंगी. अगर मैं इस टूर की बात करूं तो फखर जमान ने जो किया उसके बाद आई थिंक बाबर का ये इनिंग्स अगर T20 में आइसोलेशन में देखें तो इट हैज टू बी लाइक राइट अप देयर. लेकिन आसान था बाबर के लिए उस तरह से कि बॉलिंग को अगर हम कंसिडर करते हैं. लेकिन बाबर ने जो स्टेटमेंट देनी थी जो पिछले मैच में नहीं कर सका, अगर उस चीज से कंपेयर करें तो ये दिस इज राइट लाइक अप देयर. बिकॉज बाबर ने आज स्टैम्प ऑफ अथॉरिटी दी है कि यार मैं खेल सकता हूँ. ऐसी बात नहीं है कि मैं T20s नहीं खेल सकता, मुझे डिस्कार्ड मत करो T20 से. मैं टेस्ट मैच और ODI बैट्समैन नहीं हूँ, मैं T20 बैट्समैन भी हूँ. सो इन टर्म्स ऑफ दैट दिस वाज लाइक राइट अप देयर.
Arif, anything to add?
Yeah, I was just going to say it's hard to sort of judge this innings in the wider sort of formats, but in T20, yeah, I agree. There's not many other Pakistani innings that can match Babar's, but it will never get close to my favourite, which was 99 semi-final against New Zealand. Wajahutullah Vasti. What an innings that was. Don't ask me why I remember that.
Wajahutullah Vasti.
Yeah.
And Saeed Anwar. Don't forget Saeed Anwar's innings in that game.
Yeah, but Saeed Anwar played loads of matches. Wajahutullah Vasti, I never heard him after that. So
was that the opening double century stand?
Yes, which is similar to what happened today.
I remember because I was reminiscing about the National World Cup, writing my book. So I remember I refreshed that innings in my mind.
Did you reminisce the part when you did that pitch invasion?
My dad did do a pitch invasion. I think in the 80s, there's a footage somewhere of my dad goes to me, can you find this footage? And I was like, what footage? And he goes, and you can see on YouTube, and it doesn't zoom in though. And I go, this one. He goes, yeah, that's me. And just him running across the pitch. I go, Dad, you madman.
Listen, on the subject of books, I'll just remind everybody again, thank you so much, Tez, for being on the show. A great friend, but genuinely one of the funniest comedians we've got here in the UK. He's written a fantastic book. It's called The Secret Diary of a British Muslim, aged 13 3/4. We're going to put a link in the description so you can order your copy. I've got mine here. I'm part of the way through. I've got my little bookmark in here. It's very funny so far. I recommend it. Also, another plug, Anam Nadeem has a show called One Tip Out, which is on YouTube. We'll put a link to that in the description as well. If you get a chance, definitely check it out. It's very funny, very clever, and tells you everything you need to know about what's happened in cricket recently. I highly recommend that. What a day, guys. It's been such a pleasure to have you all, Aatif, Tez, Anam here today. You know, Babar Azam is the man of the day, really. And I can only just reflect on all of the things he's achieved today. Became the world #1 batsman in one-day international cricket. Scored the highest score by a Pakistani in limited overs, in T20 international cricket. Became the fastest to score, God knows, a certain amount of runs in 48 games. He's so far ahead of the rest of the world that everybody has to acknowledge him as the best all-format batsman in world cricket today. World #1. He's the man. If you don't agree, by the way, please jump in the comments and tell me why you don't. I'd love to hear from all of you. Tez, before we go, jump in.
I disagree.
Okay.
I think he's the best limited over batsman in the world today. I can't remember a defining test moment where you're like, wow, Babar Azam. I can't remember that moment. I can't remember the moment he had today. I can't think of a moment like that in tests.
Well, fair enough, but I think the moments he had today and the other moments he's had in the run-up in one-day cricket, whether we think about the 2019 World Cup or now, I think they're so good that they kind of compensate for that slightly low average of 47 in Test cricket, right? So averaging so highly, and there's so many stats about this, by the way. On Twitter, I recommend following a chap called Mazhar Arshad, who's just tweeting non-stop stats about Babar's accomplishments today, and so did Faizan Lakhani, by the way. There was just so many things I couldn't possibly reference them. But he's Pakistan's first batsman to be number one in the world rankings since Mohammad Yusuf in 2003. So it's been 18 years since we've had the world number one batsman. Long time. Before that, if you're interested, it was Javed Miandad in 1987, and before that, it was Zahir Abbas in 1983. So they're the only four batsmen. That's pretty good, isn't it? Not bad. They're the only four batsmen to have topped the ODI rankings for Pakistan ever. So today belongs to Babar for us. The debate about who's the best and everything, that will continue. That's all subjective. But please do leave some comments. Remember to subscribe, like the video, tweet it, retweet it, share it. You know what you got to do. Thank you for joining us. Special thanks again to our special guest, Tez Ilyaz, and to Anam Nadeem Aruff Asif. My name is Aatif Nawaz. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Post-match chat is done.